Hello, welcome to this week's very special episode of Hired. Thanks for joining us. I know it's August, vacation season is in full swing. And for those of you that are watching this live or going to watch the recording afterwards, thanks for tuning in. We bring you an episode every week about something going on in the labor market or the hiring process, just to keep you informed of what's going on, but also just kind of have some fun. And that's exactly what we're going to do with my guest here today. I'll bring him out shortly. But before I do, our research department was hard at work to find some information that we can about my next guest. And let me tell you, we scoured the internet to find out what we could about him. And I want to use some adjectives that his peers would use to describe him as a professional. And I wrote these down because they're super important in my trusty notebook here. So if you will allow me the opportunity to introduce my guest, someone who has a superior work ethic, strong word. Also, this one was one of my favorites that we came up with. Understands the fluidity of the online and retail worlds. Who do you know that has that? And that's such a great description. And this one tops them all. The ability to execute razor sharp, outside in customer solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, my guest, and I promised not to mispronunciate his name. It is the one and only Tcheilly. Tcheilly, welcome.
Well, thank you. It's Tcheilly.
Tcheilly,
and we talked about this.
We just did it.
And I love it. Yes.
I thought in my head, I was like, don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. He just told you. And I messed it up. So we're not off to a good start.
Like we joked about it, by my very last day in this universe, I would say, don't mess it up. My name is Tcheilly. But first, thank you for your kind words. Yes, being a product person, it's a very unique challenge, but I couldn't see myself doing anything else. So thank you for the introduction. And yes, product is sort of a new discipline. It just started back in 1931. So everyone wants to be product. Everybody likes product, but at the same time, it's not as easy as one would think. But let's chat it out.
Yeah. And before we jump into the world of product, and the episode today is going to be, we called it, Where's All the Product People? Because, and what we played off that is there's a massive gap going on. Demand far exceeds the supply. But, before we jump into that topic, to set the stage a little bit for our audience, in your opinion, we talk about product managers, product owners, product developers. What is it that they even do, you do? And are they different? Are they similar? Can you kind of help set the stage in terms of what it is we're going to be talking about today?
Of course. So for those who are new to product, so product in general, think of our human body. We are one product. But we go to school and you become an eye doctor, hence the reason why we wear glasses. Or you go to a dentist because you have a particular need that's related to that focused, area. Product people don't do that. Product people think of the ecosystem of a human body. So when we are part of an organization, I've been called many times like the glue that brings people together, the dot connector, the person who can see amidst the chaos, because finances are thinking of finance numbers, marketing are talking audience and other KPIs, operations are thinking of the process and what is product doing amidst all of this, right? So the product organization, because of what I just explained, it's kind of a complex challenge, right? Some organizations take the traditional approach, having, a senior executive, a VP, director, middle management, but then comes to the confusion. My brother is a junior product manager, and I play a lot of the product owner role. And there's a very distinct reason, because a product owner, as the name says, owns the product. Supposedly, I am the owner and the decision maker behind everything related to a product. Again, think of the human being, right? But then there'll be a product manager managing a bunch of pieces of these different products that come together as an ecosystem, or as we may call the product portfolio, right? Again, to answer your question, product does beginning, middle, and before and after. We go ideation. We do step by step of implementation. We talk and gather feedback from every single stakeholder within the organization so the unity works. It's not like this arm doesn't talk to this one, right? This year doesn't hear what this one does. Like if you do, like we think of everything. So that's what we do. Old fashioned way, jack of all trades. Have you heard of that one? So that's product.
I like the way you ended with jack of all trades instead of started there, and that was a great description even for me to understand. And as you were talking through, I kind of was able to visualize that. Just out of curiosity, how did you get into product, and why did you get into product?
So I am product of the environment. My father was a very unique guy, jack of all trades. Law degree, then engineering, then like it was a bunch of what you would think disconnected disciplines. But my father had a bigger dream, and he was an executive in mining in Brazil. So it was really like we have a joke that, whatever came his way, like if an airplane was about to crash, before the airplane hit the ground, my father had sold every single damn piece. That was my dad, because he knew the demand, he knew the people. He was a great communicator, articulated, like really, really phenomenal person. So I grew up, and then now I'm going to talk about my experience. I grew up building things, but not really building. I would say more breaking things and then building them back up. That would give me the sense of what I do today. So I do this. I break things apart. If you go back to my analogy, I talk to finances. That's one piece of what I'm building. I go to marketing. I go to operations. I go to the executive team because they're leading, this boat. I am talking to everyone. So when we decide to build a particular product, it has everybody's input into it, therefore making the product more in tune with the demands of the consumer, right? So that's a little bit of what a product manager or product owner or the product organization will come together and what we do.
Yeah, and you might have touched on this a little bit as we're talking through it. You've obviously built up product teams before, and you've hired a lot of product managers. What skill set do you find kind of sets product managers up for success in that role? Not necessarily experience, but what skills would they bring that would make them, under the right environment and the right experience, be excellent product managers?
I would say, and then, that might sound a little cliche, but like genuine curiosity. Like back to my example, how does this thing work? And please do not, IKEA and I only work well because it's intuitive. Because if you give me a manual and you expect me to follow step by step, I don't function. And that's what I bring to the table. And that's what I look when I'm hiring someone for a product, position, right? Can this person see beyond what's given to them? Can they see where this is coming from, or where are we going to? So again, another, big word, holistic, but I like the word that you used much better, is the fluidity, right? Things are not as defined as I described on the human body, right? We are not just thinking of the eyes or the arms or the legs or the teeth. We are thinking holistically the entire product. Therefore, I need someone that can think big picture and yet can play well in the sandbox. What do I mean by that? Because we need to speak the pain points of our internal stakeholders. When I talk to marketing, that's why, if you look at my resume, like this guy started in electricity, like I went to trade school for electricity. And then I went to general management with a minor in psychology and education. Go figure. From there, I did distance learning, instructional design. Then I went back to software development, like hands-on keyboard coding. And please do not ask me any questions. It's really, I am so like all over the place. A period screws everything up. So like that's too much attention to detail. Then I did e-commerce. Then I did digital media marketing. Sounds familiar, like my dad, different. So, but now what I do, I have the ability to talk to anyone because I know marketing, I know finances, I know operations, I know the fluidity of a business. And when we are looking to hire a product person, they need to understand business pain points. They need to understand technical pain points. They need to understand communication. They have to communicate well and clearly, concisely, very accurate. Like I said, high level, big picture, but also playing well in the sandbox. So that's the makeup of a product person. And it could be from any place. Honestly, within the organization, you notice a product person when the person comes by because they're always paying attention to their surroundings, right? I usually, the majority of the product people today come from engineering. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they know the ins and outs, right, of a product. But yet they talk up a storm. Mm-hmm. Right? So those engineers have the ability to communicate technical into a more simple business domain. Or the vice versa. And you have someone who talks a lot, but is like, oh my God, a new gadget. I need to play with this. Like someone, again, the curiosity that goes beyond their little box. Or like my brother. My brother came from customer service. My brother, again, lawyer. Then he started working. He works for the Brazilian version of the Apple Pay, like the Apple Wallet. It's called PicPay. He started as a lawyer in the customer service department and started growing. And he knew a lot about the ecosystem because brother, right? So I started guiding him through the process, and he learned everything about the product and went to a school, which is now, I'll get to the education. He went to a school that was helping create product people because of the high demand in the market. So I guided him through internal knowledge that you have to have of your organization, your product, your clients, but also the framework of a software project because I'm more on the digital transformation side. How you implement those. He went to a school for that. And then I slowly started building him. And that's what we also look on a product person. They need to come from within. If they come from outside of the organization, you just look for the curiosity. And then does this person, like what they are proposing to do? And then you just put the pieces together. I like to onboard my team and give them like an overview of the organization, overview of the product portfolio, talk to different people so they can build that big picture. So when we actually execute something, they can say, hey, retail folks, this is going to affect you here. Oh, hey, finances, the new KPIs are here. Oh, marketing, we did a new tagging for the ecosystem, so your attribution might change. So they have the communication skill behind all this push and pull, more or less.
And in terms of, and you touched on a little bit with, your brother kind of going to get some training because of the demand. Why has demand skyrocketed for talent in product, in your opinion?
I would say organizations, as small, medium, and large, started to realize that, working in silos do not equal best products, right? But also the customer doesn't care if you work in finances or customer service or product or marketing. They want someone that can speak of your business, that can speak of the fluidity of the changes that your product are implying or applying into the market. So they needed someone that could speak to anyone about anything and yet was extremely focused. You don't have that in the formal traditional education system, right? You do first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and so on. And you go to med school to become a doctor. What's the school that you go for product? Do you have one? You need technical skills, you need marketing skills, you need business skills, you need finance skills. You have you'll be going to school for the rest of your life, right? So that's the reason why. So they need someone, the market needs someone that can speak of the fluidity holistically, and yet the school system or the educational system is against to industrial thinking, first this, second this, third this. And that's one of the challenges within the own framework of product you see as we discussed this. Uh, they are the waterfall style, as I can only finish this task if I can only start this task if I complete that other one, instead of a more holistic approach, again, on the agile, a lot of inputs from everywhere, but we are following a straight line. So it's a very good time to open the horizon and start thinking of product, but it's coming from the market or us as consumers wanting more than just one piece of the puzzle. We want everything.
So do you find that maybe the over specialization within organizations have caused this gap where if you're in engineering, you're working on this feature in engineering and you stay there and you become a good engineer and you play in this silo because we value depth of skills in a specialized manner. And that was the trend for decades. And now we're at this point where, like you said, all organizations are so siloed that there's a lack of skills that can work across those silos and pull it all together. So kind of we created this gap by over specializing skill sets within organizations. Would that be accurate?
So we go back and forth as a human society, right? So you do need a doctor who knows exactly what this symptom might be related to, but yet, like I said, your eye is part of an entire ecosystem. For example, I hate to use cancer, but the cancer never shows up where the cancer came from, right? It has a spread through your body. Therefore, the weakest point is where the cancer comes and shows itself, right? So I would say this is going to keep going back and forth for the rest of our lives, because we are learning, again, back to the keyword that you mentioned, fluidity. We just need to be able to understand how what we do complements or not the rest of the environment, right? I think it's more of that awareness than necessarily the subject matter expertise, because we are all, surrounded by many influences and many pressures in our lives, right? You have your personal life, you have your professional life, you have your financial life, you have your spiritual life. So there is this need of a more holistic approach to see things, but at the same time, we have to be able to move through this and then do your best. Because I do product because I love product, but there are people who love to be specific on one topic, and that adds a lot of value, because this person is going to spend their entire lives understanding exactly that universe that plays around the other ones. But you need subject matter experts across them, but you also need people like me that can make sense of the whole. So it's a push and pull that is value for all of us. Is just really, what is it that you do with your life that serves the others? And then if all of us bring our best, there'll be no lack of anything, because we all have our very unique contributions. Like we have our own fingerprints. There's no twin Tcheilly, thank God, out there. Although I've been, creating mini me's, my brother and then the other product people that I've been training over the years, but we are all bringing very unique skills, but yet we are able to see the entire universe around us.
I love that explanation and the balance of specialist and generalist. And I feel like we probably over-indexed on the importance of specialists for a long time. And now we need to realign to balance it out a little bit more, and you don't need to just be a specific engineer for this piece. You can be an engineer in general and kind of work through things that way. Now, I know we're running close to time, and then this conversation could probably go on for hours.
Oh yes, we can have a series just on this.
I know. I find your wealth of knowledge in this space extremely valuable. I would love to get your insights on the future of the product labor market, given where it is today and this gap that we have and where it's going, and kind of how we can close this gap?
So that's a very hot topic, right? I don't have a crystal ball, first of all, although I read tarot cards, so I can try. But I really think that this ability of you understanding who you are, what you do best, and then applying to your professional life. Product in particular, I see a lot of the balance between technical and business. The more technical you get, the better you can explain to the business. The deeper you get into the pain points of your customer, the better business decisions you can make, right? So again, the future is the balance. I love gadgets, as I've said before. I love pushing the envelope when it comes to experiences. Like if you go to my LinkedIn, is humanizing digital transformation, digital experiences, because we will never lose the human touch. Technology is amazing. People will say otherwise, but technology has the ability to support our dreams. It won't become the dream, but will support us getting there. So if a product person can take that knowledge and understand how to play to serve the community, to serve their peers, to serve others, I think we'll have a good team of disruptors trying to make things better for everyone, making the hiring process easier, more intuitive, instead of, oh, this is the job description, right? Oh, like how can you translate a piece of paper into all this that we are talking? It's very complicated. And I know we've been banging this particular key for a while now, like making it more personalized. Like, let's understand who the person behind the paper is, right? You can have ATS system to filter based on the story that you told on that piece of paper, right? But the story is fluid. The story of yesterday is not going to be the story of tomorrow. And yet you need to learn where you've been so you can make better decisions in the future. And that's why you need product people.
I didn't even ask you to plug me and the hiring process. And that
That's what a product person does.
yeah, but that was great. I mean, I find I agree with you. That's why we kind of got connected first to talk about that, and then you kind of taught me so much about the product world, and I thank you for that. And I'm going to continue to learn from you, and I hope everybody watching this, whether it's live or the recording afterwards, got as much value as I did out of this. And if I know they did, where can people find you, and how can they connect with you?
Well, the best place in the market today is LinkedIn. Please follow me, or get in touch. I love to learn more about your pain points and how we can help you optimize. But my brother and I, because again, senior and junior, we've been tapping into the idea of what we call the product brothers, right? Sorry, HDTV, but we are thinking, of the product brothers to really help the small and mid-sized businesses understand the culture of product and really tap into the potential of unlimited, the sky is the limit, to help the small mid-sized business that builds America, to really create an opportunity for everyone and serve our planet, because that's how I think we can make a difference.
I love the product brothers. I'm sure HGTV won't have a problem with it. And I'm thinking maybe for a future episode, we bring the product brothers on.
Oh yes, I told him, like, you need to brush your English up, because I'm tagging you along. Like, you need to get better. It's okay.
Yeah.
It takes one word a day. That's how I learned. When remember cassette tapes? That's how I learned English. So
I could see a segment where the product brothers come on and we take a process that's been over digitized or something, and figuring out how we can optimize it through the lens of individuals and product. So thank you so much. I know you're off on vacation, so enjoy your time away. And I want to thank everybody for watching this week, and we will see you with an all new episode next week. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you guys later.
Take care.